Mr. Speaker, the Pope of the Holy See.
I would like to mention four of these Americans: Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Dorothy Day, and Thomas Merton. I think of the march which Martin Luther King led from Selma to Montgomery 50 years ago as part of the campaign to fulfill his dream of full civil and political rights for African Americans. That dream continues to inspire us all, and I am happy that America continues to be, for many, a land of dreams. In these times, when social concerns are so important, I cannot fail to mention the servant of God, Dorothy Day, who founded the Catholic Worker Movement. Her social activism, her passion for justice and for the cause of the oppressed were inspired by the gospel, her faith, and the example of the saints. How much progress has been made in this area in so many parts of the world? How much has been done in these first years of the third millennium to raise people out of extreme poverty? I know that you share my conviction that much more still needs to be done, and in times of crisis and economic hardship, a spirit of global solidarity must not be lost.
Here I would like to insert a little footnote about Dorothy Day. Dorothy, as a young woman, was a writer and social activist. In 1933, she, along with Peter Maurin, founded the Catholic Worker newspaper, which has been published ever since. The Catholic Worker movement consists in a network of houses of hospitality throughout the United States, which offer shelter and food to people in need. The communities also serve as centers for education, reflection, and discernment for nonviolent action against war and in favor of justice. Stoughton and Alice Lind, in their book Nonviolence in America, A Documentary History, wrote about one particular action that Dorothy and others performed in the 50s. This was an action rejecting the absurdity of trying to defend the civilian population against nuclear attack. Stoughton and Alice Lind wrote, Dorothy Day and others refused to take shelter during New York City's air raid drills for so-called civil defense in the late 1950s. She went to jail as a result. In her book, Loaves and Fishes, Dorothy wrote about this experience. Quote, law must be according to right reason, and the law that made it compulsory to take shelter was a mockery. In our disobedience, we were trying to obey God rather than men, trying to follow a higher obedience. We did not wish to act in a spirit of defiance and rebellion. Ours was a small matter compared to the problem confronting the German, for instance, when he was called upon to obey Hitler. We were free to make our witness, and our jail sentences were light. 5 days on one occasion, 30 days on another, and 15 days the last time. Fellow pacifists have spent months in jail since then, some for protesting the building of a missile base, some the launching of nuclear submarines. Others served many months in a prison in Hawaii for illegally sailing into the Pacific testing area. We were setting our faces against things as they are, against the terrible injustice our basic capitalist industrial system perpetrates by making profits out of preparations for war. But especially we wanted to act against war and getting ready for war. Nerve gas, germ warfare, guided missiles, testing and stockpiling of nuclear bombs, conscription, the collection of income tax, against the entire militarism of the state. We made our gesture, we disobeyed a law. The law we broke was the Civil Defense Act, one provision of which stipulated that everyone must take shelter for 10 minutes during a sham air raid. We always gave the civil defense authorities, the police, and the press notice of what we intended to do. In 1973 in California, Dorothy was arrested while on a picket line in support of Cesar Chavez and the United Farm Workers Union's struggle against the table grape growers.
A century ago, at the beginning of the Great War, which Pope Benedict XV termed a pointless slaughter, another notable American was born, the Cistercian monk Thomas Merton. He remains a source of a spiritual inspiration and guide for many people. In his autobiography, Merton wrote, "I came into the world free by nature, in the image of God. I was, nevertheless, the prisoner of my own violence and my own selfishness, in the image of the world into which I was born." Merton was, above all, a man of prayer, a thinker who challenged the certitudes of this time and opened new horizons for souls and for the Church. He was also a man of dialogue, a promoter of peace between peoples and religions.
Thomas Merton was a Trappist monk of the Abbey of Gethsemani in Kentucky. Trappist is the common name for the order of Cistercians of the strict observance. His best-selling autobiography, The Seven-Story Mountain, was published in 1948. Merton, a contemplative and a social critic, wrote many books and articles on themes of social justice, race relations, and nonviolence, as well as on Christian spirituality and Eastern religious traditions, promoting dialogue among faiths. The following is from a lecture for Trappist novices at the Abbey of Gethsemani, Kentucky, in the mid-1960s. It is from the archives of the Thomas Merton Center in Louisville, Kentucky.
It means to live in a Christ-like way. As he took on the form of a servant and showed us the path that we are to follow, so therefore we take on the form of Christ and follow the path that he has laid out for us.